Hey guys, I'm Element.
And I'm Choco, and together we are the DYAD in the Force.
So we're here to talk about yet another headline sparking some controversial reactions.
I mean, if you have like a sizable following, it behooves you to read the damn article before throwing shots out based off of a clickbaity headline, especially from certain like sources.
I mean, this is the problem with most reactionary content creators these days is, you know, they'll see a headline and they'll spot a gold mine. This is, of course, having to do with everyone reacting to Kathleen Kennedy's interview and some other projects that they're working on. And apparently the reaction to this was that Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want any more Jedi.
Is she even trying? And you're like, that's not what the.
My response was, "Are you guys even trying? Like, bare minimum, listen to the interview." So what we're gonna do?
Let's do that.
Yeah, we're going to listen to the interview right now.
Well, a lot of films, but the Rey film first. Let's chat about that. What made you want to bring this character back? Why was this the way to go in the future with Star Wars?
Well, as we move into the future space, which this story is about 15 years outside of Rise of Skywalker, obviously we realize post-war, post-First Order, rise of the new Jedi Order, we left Episode 9 with Rey making a commitment to Luke Skywalker that she would rebuild the Jedi Order. And so here we are. We're ready to do that. And it took a lot of discussion because obviously we've been developing stories in different spaces. Television has been a big focus of our attention right now, but there's still so much interest in what happens after Rise of Skywalker. So we're excited to be doing that now.
Right off the bat in this interview, she is confirming already that Rey has declared to Luke that she's going to rebuild the Jedi Order. So I don't think that means no more Jedi. I think that means she's rebuilding it.
Yeah, she made a commitment, and we're gonna watch and see what that process looks like, which I think is gonna be really interesting.
Time period is now. I have to assume, Kathleen, that's gonna be we're gonna see characters from Ahsoka and Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Skeleton Crew, that this will be kind of the big meetup.
It's not, I hesitate to say it's a big meetup from just those three because Dave's been developing Star Wars storytelling inside Clone Wars, Rebels, so much of the work that he has done for 20 years. So it'll be little bits of all of that. As you saw in this presentation, he's introducing Thrawn. That's from Timothy Zahn's book. So there's a lot of sources he's drawing from.
I just want to comment on this really quickly. There's so much rhetoric out there around how much Kathleen Kennedy is screwing things up. But it seems like from what she's saying that Dave Filoni has been developing this story for quite a long time, from Clone Wars to Rebels to now. And it seems like he is kind of like the chief architect of what's happening like right now in the zeitgeist of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's sorry. It's just ridiculous because, like, especially Mandalorian season 3, there was just a lot of really weird takes, but like it's not like it was Kathleen Kennedy that was doing this stuff. Like no, they're continuing the story from the Clone Wars that both Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau worked on all of those times. Like Jon Favreau was working on that with Dave. That's what kind of where they got their start as a team, and they're continuing those stories. It's just weird that it always kind of comes back to like, no, she's doing all of it.
She doesn't like come in every day and check on like the nightlies and like or the dailies and be like, I think this needs to change, and like that's not part of her job. She's got a lot more things to do other than harping over the shoulders of creators. There's a lot of projects out there from Lucasfilm. She can't be at every single project, screwing every project up.
And then James Mangold going back 25,000 years.
Could be even more.
This is the earliest we've seen of Star Wars. So what made you want to sort of investigate that far back?
We've been talking a lot about going well into the past. And one of the things that's really knitting this all together, obviously, are the Jedi. What happened with the Jedi over time, much like history, really. How did the Jedi evolve? They were wiped out with Order 66. then they gradually have been coming back. The question that we're going to ask with New Jedi Order and with Rey is, does the galaxy need them anymore? Do they want them back? There's a lot of food for thought in what we're doing, whether it's in the past, present, or future.
That's a lot of soup to digest. What are your thoughts, like, initially?
Well, first of all, it sounds like she's basically saying Star Wars, as she looks at it, from a macro perspective, is the story of the Jedi, right? The Skywalker story is a small story in the middle of that. I think that is, my reaction isn't, are you even trying? No, I think that's actually a really interesting story to tell, especially like if you play Jedi Fallen Order. Cal gets to the end and decides to destroy the holocron that contains the list of these Force-sensitive children because he thinks they'd be better off. He doesn't want to just gather these kids and put them into this fight. And I kind of agreed with that. And I know there's a lot of people who look at the Jedi from the prequel era and see, how they failed and how Luke really, kind of idolized that and walked down the same path. It's an interesting question to ask if the galaxy as a whole, the Sith are defeated, Exegol's defeated, Palpatine's defeated. You gotta wonder, Luke passed on his failures. Is that something that the galaxy will want, right? The Jedi Order is modeled after the samurai. That was the inspiration. And there's a point in time they decided they didn't need samurai anymore.
That's actually a great point, because during, when Meiji took the throne as emperor, there was a lot of pushback against deconstructing the samurai system and the caste system, which was a huge holdover from the feudal Edo period. And the main lesson from that was that they still needed the spirit of the samurai, but they needed to modernize, right? Yeah, so they couldn't hold on to like this monolithic, guy in a samurai armor with the sword protecting Japan. They had to like keep up with the world, but the spirit lived on in their culture.
Honor and the respect and the rules of engagement, those things protected and gave people something to look up to ascribe to be better, to rally to their cause. I mean, this is also largely the plot of Ghost of Tsushima, but it's really good. There's just a lot of really good stuff there.
Yeah, and going back to James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, first and foremost, I will say, Into the Void, Force Storm, not my favorite stories in Dawn of the Jedi. However, the mysticism and like the biblical nature of the Call of Thoyor, where like this Mortis thing shaped like the Mortis planet comes and just like all Force sensitives come forth. After that, it gets really, really cheesy, but I don't want that. I do want them to explore how 25,000 years BBY, like people are like starting to like feel this energy field and starting to manipulate it and starting to give it its name. What was it called back then? What is this like wind that I'm feeling? And that's like, I say wind because Zepho are also ancient and they called it the life wind. We get to explore all that cultural melding with the birth of the Force as we know it, because the Force probably goes back to the beginning of Star Wars in time, in this history of Star Wars. And then we go to the New Jedi Order. My thoughts on this is simple. A lot of people reacted to this saying, what does this mean? Kathy doesn't want any more Jedi? And we got the typical responses saying, the Jedi are responsible for $1 billion franchise. Are you even trying? And the galaxy is asking these questions. The galaxy wants, the galaxy is contending with, do we want the failed Jedi back? Is it something that they need, right? How is the new governing body going to treat a rebuilding order? Are they going to bring them back into the fold? Is Rey going to recuse her order from galactic affairs? Like, how is this new Jedi Order building upon the folly and the failure that Luke passed on?
We don't have a story of how the Jedi truly came to be, in canon, and this is just like modernized version of that. What do you do, you know, and what role do you play? Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I also think it would be doing a disservice if they didn't answer, if they just started with her having a full school. I love the old
the
Republic.
opening crawl says Rey's Jedi Order is now rebuilt, and the Galactic New Republic has instituted it as like the main police force. It's like, obviously that's a stupid ass like opening crawl, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like what Choco said, the Order is rebuilt,
which they could do, but like,
I want to see it rebuilt.
Why? You know what's going on, and hopefully they learn from what happened before, where we also need to talk about the state of the galaxy, because if the galaxy is asking this question, that I hope this means that all of these things are going to be connected, you know. But yeah, we'll see.
So in essence, you know, when you see headlines like this, kindly go to the source, read the interview, listen to the podcast, try to get as much information as possible before you make your reaction to it. It really doesn't, I mean, I know it's like easy content. It really doesn't, it's really a disservice to all of your viewers to just take the easy way out. So listen to the stuff and then respond accordingly.
I couldn't have said it better. It's good for getting clicks. But if that's all you're doing, it hurts Star Wars. It hurts the franchise. It hurts the fan base.
Be responsible, read the stuff, and have fun disagreeing with each other and talking about Star Wars and you know, having that discourse, having that meaningful conversation with your friends. Well, that's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We're all the Dyad.
And may the Force be with you always.